go get them again.
Welcome back to another unboxing first impression video on my channel. Today we are delving into the brand of Frédéric Malle, and yes, we are going back to the Desert Gems collection. This one called Dawn. Now this is the last of the 4 bottles I bought years ago on a Facebook group from the same provider. This guy does splits of these bottles and kind of gets them a little more of my appetite as far as the price tag goes. If you can knock off a few hundred on $1,000 bottles, $2,000 bottles, even $1,000 off because you've decanted half the juice, I'm a happy camper. And that really, this whole collection, just because I've decanted it, I might have only bought 1 or 2 of these bottles. Now I got the 4, right? There's obviously a 5th one now. But yeah, I bought these on Facebook, years ago. And finally in 2025, you've received all these unboxings. Now I've sampled most of these on my channel back in 2023. I think I sampled 3 of these out of the 4. I think Promise was the one that I don't have a samples of. I think I bought that one last, and I actually unboxed it first. Now, there's no box. The box is not in the purgatory over there, but it's actually way gone. When I get them split and stuff, just to make room. There was no room in the fragrance room. As you can tell, there's some spilling over in the back here. So taking them out of the box makes a little bit more room. So anyway, I can't wait. Now, this was the whole reason when I saw these in the purgatory or kind of hiding in there, I started plucking them because I want them in the rotation come fall. That's why you're getting these videos now. It's because I want the whole collection coming. It's been a while now. I want to start wearing them, so I can't wait. But today I wanted to spotlight Dawn. So the last bottle of the Desert Gems in my collection. Obviously not an unboxing and obviously not a first impression, but it's been years since I've smelt this. You can go check out the sampling samples. I think it was back in mid 2023 that I did a sampling samples on this thing. And that will give you a more in-depth review from me. I did rate this product a 10 out of 10, a perfect 10 on my channel, which I don't give out like cookies. I always put my money where my mouth is. So here's the bottle with 10s. Usually they come on the channel as bottles, especially if they're sampling samples eventually. My list is fairly large, my buying list. You don't want to see that. As much as you don't want to see the purgatory because it's full of bottles. And I'm putting a huge dent into it actually this year, which I'm proud of. There's still a lot of designer stuff and hard to find stuff. And I don't know how, I'm not a top 10 guy while other reviewers are doing top 10s every day. I'm just trying to kind of go from purgatory to put these bottles behind me here so I have them available. I don't think this cycle will ever end. Yeah, if you want to see that sampling samples, go check it out. Yeah, voila. Here's the bottle. The split was definitely less than 50% when I'm putting the bottle here. It looks more like a 70, 75. I don't recall what I paid. Like it was just like there's a little chunk missing depending on popularity. I want, with my splitters, I always say I want at least 50% of the bottle, especially with smaller bottles. Sometimes I want a little bit more and I'll give them a threshold. I'll be like 60% is fine. If you can't sell it all, I'll take the rest kind of thing. And I think that's what happened here. These are pretty expensive in sample form. Like if somebody's looking for a 5 ml decant of a $2,000 bottle, yeah, it's going to get a little pricey as far as decanting and sampling. For me, I think I had like little 2-3 ml samples when I sampled these things before, but they still ran me a good $100 or so just for those samples to test it out and then spend my money. So if you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Mark. I am the host of the Robezoid channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. You are going to see products like this, $2,000 product. And then next I'm going to be actually unboxing next week here, Lagerfeld Classic, which is like a $20 fragrance, right? A bargain bin type of fragrance, a fragrance that came from the 70s. I'll do that. I'll do women's fragrances. I'll do indie brands that you've never heard of. I'll do really popular designer fragrances and kind of give you the truth on those and things that are very much hyped in our community, but they're free bottles. That's what I'm here for, is to inform. I'm not here to sell you a product. If I do sell you on a product, I guess I did my job, but I'm not, getting the fruits of the labor. I'm just trying to open your eyes to maybe, checking out a new brand like Frédéric Malle. Maybe it's new to you. this line may be new to you and it looks interesting to you. Or it'll just be like, no, I'm not really interested in what he's saying. It's too expensive for what it is. And you kind of come to that conclusion. That's what I'm basically here for. I'm an old school fragrance reviewer that's not in here for business. Now let's go. Don't forget to hit that like button. And my returnees. I love you all. I always have like a solid core that keeps coming back to my videos. I absolutely love all of you. You know, your comments, your likes and everything are the backbone of this little Robes 08 community. Absolutely love it. And I always take your comments. Like I try to read as much as I can. You know, when I'm busy and I'm shooting a lot of videos, sometimes the comments kind of go on the wayside, but I do read them. So let's go take a look at the notes. Let's take a look at release date. Let's look at the nose and all that pricing, of course, and then we'll smell this thing off a strip and then on my skip. So off the top, we have pink pepper and rose. In the mid, we have LABDANUM, rose, and amber. And in the base, we have OUD, LABDANUM, vetiver, oak moss, cedar, and ambroxan. And if I remember correctly, this one right here is the OUD incense combo. You're going to get that rose, like it has rose twice in the note breakdown here at the top and in the mid. But I think those are the big bulky pieces. I think it's more of an incense fragrance than a OUD one, which again can nullify the price of, is it worth it to me, right? Some people will spend $2,000 on a really good OUD fragrance or $1,000. A really good incense, oh, that's a little different. But this one is a little different than your run-of-the-mill typical incense-based fragrances where you will see a Comme des Garçons Avignon, which is a nice, beautiful, churchy incense. It's more than what you're asking for the price range. I think, you know, pound for pound, Avignon by Comme des Garçons is the best incense in the game. And what do I mean by that is quality, blending versus pricing. What do I want from a churchy incense? It gives it, it's three-dimensional, it's beautiful. So looking at that, and you could probably get that for around, you know, under $200, we'll say, and I think I'm being, you know, a little high on the price tag. And then you're looking at this and you're like, but the difference is the, I think is the OUD, which is a secondary piece. So it all depends on you. Now this was released back in 2018. Gnosis Carlos Beniem, I'm an all-star perfumier, Frédéric Malle, as the creative director of his own brand back in the day, no longer with the brand now. We'll see where the creative direction goes now for the brand. But when he was there, you didn't have any slouches. You didn't have any, you know, are we going to see a Frédéric Malle, Quentin Bisch collaboration in the near future? With him gone, it could happen. Ooh, scary things, right? But yeah, Carlos Beniem, you look at the resume, you'll be like, absolutely beautiful resume of some classics and some great sets, some top heavy hitters. Now looking at pricing, yes, this one retails for approximately $2,000 USD for the 100 ml bottle. So you're paying extra premium. You know, like $500 used to be a rarity for fragrances. Like when I first started, I think Clive Christian was like the only one, you know, there's obviously, you know, these one-offs things, you know, like, you know, they bejewel bottles and stuff like that, and they'd be like $1,000 bottles. But when I first started in this fragrance thing, $500 was very unique. There's not too many brands that would do at least 500. And now it's almost coming to be the norm with high-end niche brands. All these Tom Fords and all that, they're climbing at that price point. So kind of crazy how our fragrance game went. And at discounters, you can find these at discounters, very rarely. Discounters don't get much in stock. It's not like this is a Versace Eros brand new release where they get 500 bottles at a discounter like Doma Shop or Fragrance X and stuff like that. And they, you know, they're going to sell out eventually, but they're going to continue to get stock. You know, it's like a trough, right? Here, these discounters may get 3 bottles, 2 bottles, 1 bottle here, right? Because they're so expensive and hard to find. And they sell out like this because people like myself will go for a discount, right? I went to Facebook. This is the easiest way of doing it. Like I was very patient and I lost out on some. Like I think it was Fragrance Net that had a few of these. I think Fragrance Buy had a few of these that I got the email. I always sign up to the emails, especially with things that are rare and hard to find. And I lost out on them. That's the way of the game. So I kind of went the easier route and I said, okay, well, now I'm obviously going to get the product and I'm going to get it at a discounted rate. Now I won't know my approximate rate, but I gave, we started one by one. And yeah, now we're at 4 of them. I might get the 5th one, we'll see. But at discounters, you're looking at approximately half price. So it's well worth it if you really do like it. And again, some people will say, well, if you can't afford it retail, like, what are you doing, right? But for me personally, I like to do the homework. It's not that I can't afford it, but I have an internal budget. I'm not going to go broke on fragrances. It's a wild game to be in. You can go on YouTube and you'll see people going broke on this stuff, trying to be a fragrance reviewer, trying to be, the next big thing and going broke on it. I got an internal budget. I stick to it. It's like a hard cap. It's not a soft cap, right? We're talking about like hockey terms, like there's a salary cap, right? Some have like little taxes if they go any higher. No, it's a hard. I gave myself a hard cap. Every month I could spend this much. With these, I basically, as much as my cap was there, I stopped buying for a while because I bought these. So the fruits of my labor finally, years later, a couple of years later, now I finally have these for fall and winter of 2025, 2026. Finally. So let's delve into it. And again, at discounters, you're going to be looking at around $900 to $1,500 for a 100 ml bottle of this. The 50 ml, of course, just chop it up a little bit and you'll probably find it maybe around 500, 600, 700, give or take of this, but they're very rare. So let's delve into it. Let's put it on strip first and then we'll put it on skin. And this is going to be definitely my scent of the day for the day. These things are all 3 of these, powerful. When I did my videos with them, gorgeous stuff, but very powerful fragrances. So let's delve into this. Let's remind myself that it was a oud incense thing, that the incense was the primary, if I remember correctly. Oh, no. It goes heavy oud, then it translates to, okay, so I got like the dry down in my head here. Sorry. Yeah, this opening of this reminds me of the moon. It goes where the moon, finished us off a bit. The oud here, starting us off. Little cheesy, a little animalic. Almost think like a cumin, like animalic feel. This one hits hard immediately with the oud. And you can sense the incense here, but it's in the background. Like the oud is the star of the show in this opening. But it has like that, the worthwhile price tag if you like animalic and cheesy. I'm not saying it's like you could find something a little more like hardcore, we'll say, as far as oud goes. It's very much, it's not a westernized oud where it's dusty, woody thing. No, it has that cheesiness. It has that depth to it. Yeah, so it's oud, but then it morphs. I remember it morphing. So I'm going to do 1 spray here, 1 back of the neck, and then 1 here. And that's it, 3. And that's probably too much. Some people will say this is a 1 sprayer. Oh yeah. That oud is 3-dimensional. It's gorgeous. And there's some redundancies through these, right? If you're not a collector like me, you could sample like I did and then just pick the one that you like. Some people like the cheapest one. Actually, I think a lot more people like Promise, which is the one that's, under $500. It might be around $500 now. It used to be around $300, I think, which was the cheapest one. So people could gravitate towards that one. Yeah, it reminds me of the moon, but the incense is coming through. And the incense is gorgeous. It's a beautiful incense. So incense and oud duo coming through on my skin now. So yeah, the oud says hi. It has the bulk of your attention in the introduction. That is going to be, you're going to be like, oh, this is an oud-based fragrance. And then it's going to start morphing. And I think the oud takes a big step back and the incense takes over. Yeah, so now the incense is taking more of a bigger role. It's going to eventually, it's walking you there. This is a fragrance that, these fragrances, it's not like it changes like this, right? It slowly walks you to the eventual mid base notes. It's a slow, like it's a slow burn, we'll say. And that's what I like. That's why these kind of fragrances stay on your skin for a very long time. It's not like citrus is dying down in 2 seconds in an unboxing. You're just like, oh yeah, it goes to this and that and that. And my nose is pretty good in you know, going through the weeds a little bit and trying to give you as much as I can on an unboxing. Yeah, it's not a first impression. You know, I already have like that knowledge of this fragrance. I kind of know where it's going. So I know what I'm looking for on my skin here in an unboxing. And it's warm. It's very smooth as a fragrance, even though it has that cheesiness, but it's well blended. Definitely the incense is a churchy incense. It kind of brings you to that. A little bit of coldness from the incense as well, which is always a neat trick. Now, incense can have some warming notes and it can have some cooling notes as well. And you know, yes, you can get incense-based fragrances for much cheaper. Of course, Avignon for Comme des Garçons would be my recommendation, right? That is my professional. If somebody asked me, you know, best bang for your buck, churchy incense, go. Have you smelt Comme des Garçons Avignon? That's the first, like I can't even think of like who's in second place. I would have to actually sit down and kind of figure out, okay, where's the price points and where are some of the best ones? How much are they? Things like that. Avignon, I know for sure. It might be hard to find because Comme des Garçons is not at discounters, right? They are very good with their lawyers. They cease and desist like Chanel does. You know, you have to go to an authorized seller of Comme des Garçons, but well worth it. That would be one of my recommendations. If you're going into the CDG lineup and you like incense, that one's great. You know, this makes me imagine, it's just like Avignon, it makes me imagine of cold brick flooring, old walls, right? Old wooden pews, church pews, ash on the ground from the incense, maybe snuffed out incense smoke as well. I'm getting some of that. There's a little bit of peppery nuances, which can be there as well with some of these notes. Cedar can give you a peppery, black pepper kind of feel as well. There is rose in here now. It's morphing into like a little more, not just incense and oud. There is rose, but it's not second in command. Usually in ouds, you're going rose, oud, saffron, right? That combo. Saffron's not here. So you're going rose, oud, and then everything else. But rose does take quite of a back seat here, but it does have its role. I know LABDANUM comes into play as well. It's going to give you leathery touches. It's going to give you ambery touches as well. Yeah, I'm getting some of that leathery touch now that I just spoke about it. It's going like, aha. This scent, and it's bringing me back to, and I know for sure I said this in the sampling samples. I could go back, but my memory used to be like really, really good. I'm kind of losing a little bit with my old age here, but I do remember with the sample, it made me think of a story that, you know, it's almost like this is like a, you know, a story, right? Where the night goes into dawn and prayers at that time gives me like, it kind of gives me like a spiritual kind of feel. It reminds me of an actual real life experience. I used to go to Africa. I used to go to Sudan, Khartoum to be actually, you know, right in the thick of things. Khartoum. My first experience there, I got woken up by prayers, and this is kind of like one of those. You know, it reminded me when I was in Sudan in Khartoum, and the prayers were like at dawn when I went out to work out, right before I had to do what I had to do over there, and. Yeah, it reminds me of almost that dry desert air of Khartoum, even though it's a big city. But it just reminded me of that time. You know, I was early 20s, Mark. You know, just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they threw me into the mix. I turned into a man real quick, from a boy to a man real quick when I first started my channel. But anyway. Yeah, it just reminds me of those early mornings in Khartoum. Solid all-around scent profile. It really, yeah. More incense than oud, right? You're going to get that initial punch, and you'll be like, oh, this is an oud-based fragrance. I don't know if I need... you gotta wait. The incense comes in, but then there's obviously that complexity. The rose is gonna come in, the labdanum is gonna come in. You're gonna get a little bit more of those 3 dimensions, but the oud has, by itself is 3-dimensional. The incense by itself, cold stone, has the wooden aspect. That could be from the cedar or the vetiver, but it gives you that wooden aspect as well of the pews, right? The ashy incense. It just reminds me, yeah, like a warm air, but a cooler morning, but it still has that warm air hitting your face a little bit. And that kind of reminds me of when I was in Sudan. So it's more of an incense than an oud, and it will make some people double back because of the price, right? They'll just be like, oh, no, 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 I'm not paying that much for an incense. But at the end of the day, after, finally sampling 3 of these and then buying bottles, the only regret I have personally right now, and again, I haven't worn these enough to actually do a full-fledged review to give you the full imagery of what I think about them. But my initial impression are that I was right on the samples on 3 of these. The other one I blind bought, of course, but I wouldn't double back on my purchasing. Like, yes, it gave me it halted my purchasing for a while because these are buku dollars, all 4 of them together, and basically this little chunk, I think it was through 1/4 of a year, right? That I just decided. I went to my splitter and I'm like, look, I got a crazy proposition. You got these, let's make a deal. And I'd go back and do that. The only thing I regret is not quote unquote unboxing these for the channel, because I'm very hard-headed. Anybody that knows me knows that if it's in the purgatory, yeah, I might get like a single wearing once in a while, but other than that, it stays there. I need the full-blown review now that these bottles, like all 3 of these are now here. They're up for grab, for lists, stuff like that. I can wear it on the daily. And this guy's going to join them, and that's where I have a little more liberty. The Purgatory has no liberty, especially if it's a boxed product, which has cellophane. I keep them that way. But the Facebook ones, sometimes I kind of cheat. I'll be honest, I cheat. But if they're deep down, I'm not going to dig. I'm just going to take what I have enough here to test out. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with Dawn. Happy to have it. It is going to be, if I ever did a top 20 fall winter list for 2025, some of these would make the list as newbies. They've never made a list on my channel. So it would change the face of some of my high-end niche top 20 fall and winter lists, I think. At least winter for sure. Some of these big, bolder ones would make it. So yeah, I'm very happy with this product. Maybe not worth the retail, but you can do what I do and get more bang out of your buck. Don't be prideful. You don't have to come on YouTube and pump up your chest and go, look, I just spent like $6,000. Yeah, like it's nothing. I don't know any of you. There's no reason to pump up your chest and kind of go like, yeah, no, I took a discount. Why not? I don't need 100 mil of anything. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Now that you're my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly, right? These fragrances, polarizing, right? So I am already tackling things that people are going to say, I'm not going to spend that much for an incense-based fragrances. I hear you. Those things are, there's no way I'm spending $2,000 on a fragrance like this, or $2,000 on any fragrance, $1,000 on any fragrance. I hear you. No, not everybody's going to buy a sample that's $50, $75 for trying to test out these fragrances. I hear you. So there is going to be some of that. And there's going to be probably more, I'm not going to say negative, but more like people saying that kind of stuff. And then people saying, well, it's not worth it. I'd rather have like a bigger, a more artistic side of things, right? A Bornikoff or something like that. So there's more of that than people saying, I like this product. I bought this product. It's a good product. That's where I'm at, Anyway, that's my take on Dawn. I'm very happy to finally add it to the collection. And as always, a great pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching YouTube. Have a good one.